people pleasing and just give you a few ways that you can identify what behavioral traits we do that would class us as people pleasing and how you can actually manage it better so that you can take care of your energy and yourself a lot better and live a much happier life. Because as a reformed people pleaser, I know that I used to put myself absolutely last and I was constantly tired, overwhelmed, had nothing left in the tank by the time I got home. And then I used to be, either not wanting to speak to Cam or just a bit short or frustrated or angry or actually not that fun to live with. And because you're so busy giving to everybody else and you've got nothing left to give. And in fact, you don't even think about giving anything to yourself. One of the first things that you'll recognize about people pleasers is that they never say no. They just don't have it in their vocab. So you will say yes to absolutely anything that comes up. So people will invite you somewhere. Yeah, sure. People will ask you to do something. Yeah, sure, absolutely. No worries. Could you, I need you to actually drive to the airport, wait for 3.5 hours to pick something up, and maybe it's just a small little packet. Then can you go via 2 hours away and drop that to that person, and then you can come home? Sure, no worries. That might have been a little bit of an exaggeration, but I can guarantee you've said yes to something that's just as annoying as what that example was. So saying yes to absolutely everything is a people pleaser's like number one thing. The next thing is our need for approval. And I'm going to like I am a recovered people pleaser. So I'm putting myself into this as well. So it's that constant need for approval, looking outside of ourselves for people to tell us that we're doing well or that they approve of us or they like us, or we're constantly looking outside of ourselves for approval. We neglect our own personal needs. As a hairdresser, this is one of the greatest things because I used to work 14-hour days. I was an absolute slave on the floor. I used to make my employers a shit ton of money, and I would go without food, without going to the toilet, without sitting down myself. I would just go, 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 and never say no to a client. Yep, yep, yep. No, bring them through. Don't say no to them. They really want their hair done. Let's get that done for them. And so, I could have like 6 to 8 clients on the go at once, and I would just do that all day, every day, and put my own needs last. The only thing I could do for myself was throw a cigarette down my throat. So that was my thing of, oh, I just need to have a cigarette. And I felt such guilt about that I used to chug it down so fast I almost choked to death trying to smoke that quickly. We avoid conflict at any way we can. We'll avoid conflict. So we don't want to cause another person disturbance. We don't want what we say or our needs to come up against somebody else where that person won't be happy with us, or that we might want to tell that person, you know what, that actually doesn't suit me. Oh, it's that. And lastly is we just can't stop apologizing. We're constantly apologizing. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Sorry is like breathing. Sorry is a word that just continually comes out of our mouth. We apologize pretty much for everything and we don't even hear ourselves saying it. Sorry has become such a word in our vocab that it's like. So if any of those 5 things that I've just read ring true for you, then keep listening because we need to actually work on this. And as somebody who has actually done this, I can tell you life is so much better once you get on the other side of this. But I remember thinking to myself as I started to read about this stuff, I was like, oh my God, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine putting myself first. I can't imagine, like, I don't know, I can't imagine saying no to someone about anything. Like, I was constantly in the business of just saying yes. Our thoughts drive our behavior. Okay. So, as we think, then we feel, and then we act. So, if our thoughts are that we are unworthy, lacking in confidence, not good enough, um, all of those, you know, type of self judgment, negative Nancy thoughts about ourselves, that makes us feel less than. That makes us feel like a servant. It brings us into that servitude, and it's not being of service to people, it's being a servant. There's two totally different things. So a lot of us find ourselves in service based jobs. We'll be teachers, hairdressers, nurses, anywhere where we can help people, we will be. Because our whole thing in life is to, Cherie, I just saw you. You just wrote sorry. So, anywhere we can be in the world where we can help other people, we will be there. So, they're the type of jobs that we look for. And if we don't have a job, we'll go and find someone that we can help, even if it's a perfect stranger at a bus stop, even if, it's somebody we're going into the supermarket and you see somebody like that, you go, oh, no, no, you go, you go, you go. And we just want to make life really great for everybody else. It is those sorts of like lack of worth and lack of respect and lack of love for self that drives this constant need to help others. Because in the act of helping others, we find worth within ourselves. We find that, oh my God, this is what I've been put on the earth for. Now I know, like, why, what I'm all about. It's so that I can help everyone. And like when I start with clients, I say to them, what do you do and how do you, like, we talk all about that. And every single one of them does anything they can to help other people. Volunteering at the school. That's exactly right. We will find ways. It doesn't matter. We'll do it for free. We don't give a shit. We just want to help people. I'm going to burst a bit of a bubble on that in a second, but actually, no, let's burst that bubble right now. I've got something stuck in my teeth. Hang on. Nothing like turning up to a Facebook Live and you've got something stuck in your teeth. Anyway, so this constant need to help and please other people, when you actually break down your intention with why it is you help, when you really get to the bottom of it, you'll be quite surprised at your answer. Now, this is only if you're really, really honest with yourself. Originally, when we start to look at this, we realize that we give of ourselves to give to ourself. Let me say that again. We give of ourselves to give to ourselves. Initially, the reason why we want to help other people is so that we feel good about ourselves, because we don't. And helping other people helps us to feel good about ourselves. That's a bit of a bubble burster, but it's oh so true. And I'm sorry to throw that out there right in the beginning of this live, but that actually makes a massive difference. Because on the other side of this, when you are truly giving for giving's sake, it's actually got nothing to do with, yeah, it makes you feel good. It makes me feel good that my work is great and people are helped and all of the things, but I'm not doing it because it makes me feel good. I'm doing it because being of service to those people. When we truly are giving, when we can't love unless we can love. We can't give unless we can receive. So it's not a pure transaction exchange if we are giving to make ourselves feel good. It's just part of it. It's part of the exchange in that is that it gets us to feel good, but it's not why we are doing it. And it doesn't come from a pure place. Like I get to now come from a really pure place with it where I'm not finding my worth by helping you. I find my worth in other ways and I feel really, really worthy. And that allows me to give from a place of non attachment. Of I'm not like there's nothing behind it, there's no method or manipulation as to why I'm giving to you. I'm just simply giving to you. And it's a big difference. So just feel into that. I'll get off that for a minute so that you can actually just come back to that and maybe journal about why is it that I give? Why is it that I help people? And go into it a little bit more for yourself. Saying no actually opens up opportunities for you to say yes to the things that truly matter to you. So, what I found when I started saying, oh, how do you know what to say no to? This is a point where we need to start to get really intimate with ourselves and have an intimacy with who we are, what we like, what we don't like, what we stand for, what we stand against, who are we as a person, what are my motives, and really start to meet yourself. It's like if you sat down and you met a new friend and you started to talk and you really had those more D&M talks, not just the superficial, what do you do for a living, but you really started to get into the, what do you like to do and why do you like to do that, and really start getting into the nitty gritty of it. You got to get pretty clear with yourself. And I've talked to a lot of people that just never give themselves the opportunity to do that. They can't stand the silence. They can't stand sitting with themselves and asking themselves those questions. They find it really difficult to spend any kind of intimate time with self. And yet it's our greatest gift is when we do, we get to learn things about ourselves that we never ever knew. And so when you're saying yes to these things that like they're not in alignment with the person that you are. I remember doing things that I'd go, this makes me feel physically sick. Like I don't even like this. I don't even agree with this, but I'm doing this to keep this person happy. So things were like out of alignment with my values. The only way you know your values is to find out what are my values. Like check it out. Put it at the top of a page. If you don't have a journal, just get a piece of fucking paper and a pen and just write at the top of it. What are my values? And start to actually just write them down. And when you first start doing this, it's a little bit tough because I remember I got this book. I still keep it with me because it was one of the first books I ever got that I asked myself questions. And it was really fucking hard for me to answer the questions in this book. It's this one, The Desire Map. I got this years ago. It's got coffee stains all over it. And in this, she speaks about a lot of this stuff. But in the back, there was these questions. And I remember I was sitting in Max Brenner's at Robina Town Centre. And I thought, you know what, Tracy, you've bought this book. Every single time you buy these books, and you do it all the time, they've always got these questions in them and you never fill them out. You never do it. So I did. I thought, you are not leaving this coffee shop until you start to write these out. And so there was things like, she's got here like rapid fire starting. The words just simply said, I crave. Until got this book, I had never even contemplated what I crave. Never even thought about it. And yet, when I started to write, it was very interesting what came out. Other than time or money, what I want more of is. And I started to write. I need to give myself more permission to be. So this started this self-reflection, this contemplation of what is it that I want. As a hairdresser, I've asked 1,000 women, what do you like? What do you desire in your life? What do you like? Blah, 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 blah. Ask everybody else, but didn't ever ask myself. We're really good at that. We are really, really, really good at holding space for other people. We're good at helping people to solve their problems. We're so good at like all of the things with someone else, but we just don't turn it around on ourselves. And this is the really big difference, and this is the game changer. When you start to stop looking outside of yourself and start to look within. I've written here that one of the things is seek internal validation. We're constantly looking for external validation that we're right or we're wrong, we're good, we're bad, whatever it is. We're looking outside of ourselves. We're looking to our parents, to our friends, to our workmates, to our boss, to our partners. Yet, how often do you actually look to yourself and go, how is that, eh? That validation of how does that feel for me? You know what? That feels fucking great. I love it. I'm so excited by that. Or, you know what? Could have done a bit better there, babe. That was probably a bit out of alignment with your values there. I have to catch myself constantly, and I still do now, because it's really important for me to make sure that I witness myself and keep my integrity in check. Because I think that, like, you can get wrapped up or taken away with life. Just be mindful of your intention behind the things that you do. Like, I always ask myself, am I doing this to make money? Am I doing this to get people to like me? Am I doing this because it's actually fucking valuable? And if that last question, there's a yes behind that, then I just do it no matter what. If it's just to make money, I go, that's not who I am. That's not my value. So, no, I'm not doing it just to make money. Am I doing it to get people to like me? I don't need people to like me. Like, what people think of me is not my business. So, if that's my intention behind doing something, then it's a dead set no from me. But if what I'm doing brings value and it makes me feel good, then it's a dead set fucking yes. But how I don't know that unless I find that out about myself. So I'll just put that up again for you. That's the desire map. Her name's Danielle Laporte. Oh, I can't speak French, but I'll put a photo of it for you in the comments of the live for you. It's just a really good book getting you to connect with the things that you desire in your life. So saying no opens up opportunities to saying yes. So what I've noticed with clients that I work with is when we work on this thing of saying no to the things that don't bring us joy, don't align with our values, just don't feel good, or just like, you know what? Your intentions for doing it are just the wrong intentions. When you say no, when you first start saying no, you think, oh, fuck, I'm disappointing that person, I'm letting that person down, and it's like sleepless nights, and it's like, but then you wake up the next morning and you realize the world still turned. Life still went on. Even though I'd said no, that person went on and went about their day, and everything still happened, and I'm still alive. This saying no actually doesn't hurt me, doesn't kill me. I might try that again. Because what you realize is when you say no to somebody, they'll just find somebody else to say yes. People are pretty fickle. Hate to say it, I'm going to throw it out there, but we are. Like, if we can't get that person to do what we want, we'll go find somebody else. So we lose no sleep over it. We might be disappointed for a second, but then we move on. Whereas that poor people pleasing empath is sitting there going, oh my God, I've disappointed that person. No, you haven't. What you've done is you've allowed yourself to be true to yourself and your values and your time. And you've given that person an opportunity to go, oh, that's interesting. She always says yes. Some of the people that I started saying no to, instead of the constant yes, they had an opportunity to reevaluate just how much they needed from me, how much they expected that I would just do the thing. And so for some of them, it actually benefited them in a way that they got to go, oh shit, I've been like just dumping all this stuff on Trace when, oh man, I should probably look at that. And then others of them that were just like those people that just like to use and, you know, get everybody else to take responsibility for their life. They just moved on to the next thing. And what the people that I thought were my friends, soon I realized I was like a friend with benefits. But there was not really many benefits in it for me. I always found that I was that friend that did everything for everybody and nobody was there to do anything for me. So have a look and see, like, are you that friend that does everything? And then when you need help, there's nobody around. So saying no to those things actually opened up opportunities for me to say yes to things that maybe I hadn't even realized that I wanted to do. Or it's when I learnt Reiki. It's when I started to, you know, open up to this spirituality more. It's when I really got to connect with me and all the things that I loved, and I got to do that more. So saying no allows you to say yes to the things that matter to you. Having a relationship with yourself and reflecting on your values, your thoughts, this is something that like a lot of people won't ever do, right? It takes a lot of courage. I'm gonna say it's a brave thing to do to actually sit and go, you know what? I'm gonna go and check myself out. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna meet myself. I'm gonna find all the things that help me to tick. It's really brave to do that. And for a lot of people, it's too much. So they stop and they just go back to people pleasing behavior because it's so much easier to just please everybody else and put yourself last. But for those of you that have that courage and that bravery to go, you know what, there's more to my life. I know that there's more than what I'm currently experiencing. When we can start to become more true to ourselves and live more in alignment with who we are, our values, our beliefs, our, not so much our beliefs. I want to just back that off because a lot of the beliefs that we hold don't even belong to us. So that's for another night. But you know, our core values of what we hold to be really sacred to us, what we desire in our life, what we love, like that's so important. And when we start to align with that, our life starts to change. So if you feel like you're that person that just has nobody there for them when you need help, align more with your truth. If you find that you don't have the things that you want in your life or you're not currently experiencing the life that you want, stop looking outside of yourself and start looking within. Get to know yourself internally. Don't look at the external. If you don't like what you're looking at, it's not that that needs to change, it's in here. And having a better relationship with yourself getting to know you means that you get to like yourself, you get to love yourself, you get to respect yourself, and therefore you make better choices. And that includes the people that you're around, the relationships that you have, the experiences that you have, what you will say yes and no to, all shifts because you have a deeper respect for self. So if you're thinking about learning how to say no, it's about learning how to actually meet self. And the next thing is to be able to express your needs. You've spent your life listening to everybody else's needs and fulfilling them for them, and you don't express what you need. And so that's where the disconnect is. And once you start to be able to, you cannot possibly express your needs if you don't even know what your needs are because you're so busy fulfilling everybody else's. So I wanted to just share this with you tonight to think, okay, I'm a dead set people pleaser. Why? What is it that I receive from pleasing everybody? What is it that happens for me when I say yes, when I really want to say no? What happens to me? When I'm constantly like saying sorry, how does that make me feel? When I'm constantly apologizing for what I'm saying, for who I am, for what I look like, for being too big, too little, too loud, too bright, too sparkly, too depressed. If I'm constantly just saying sorry, what's that actually doing to me? What does that feel like in my body? If I'm avoiding conflict because I think I'm going to get conflict if I tell somebody else how I feel, what is it about me that feels that I need to hide how I feel? So these questions are something that, spend some time, get a cup of tea, sit down, get some winter sun on your face. It's bloody beautiful. And these are the sort of things that we can be curious about. Curiosity is a beautiful word because instead of going in and like judging and why am I like this and what am I doing, let's just be curious to go, what do I, why do I do this? I'm just going to be curious about why I feel the need to please everyone. And I'm just going to be curious about, why I can't say no. And take judgment off the table because there's just no room for it when we're getting to know ourselves. Because if you're having a conversation with somebody and you're sitting there judging them the whole time, well, it's not a conversation. Whereas when somebody's sitting across from you and they're telling you all of the things, you're sitting there and you're listening intently and you're even thinking of ways that you could help them. Do that for yourself. And so I'm going to, like, over the coming weeks, I'm going to just drop in here with the themes of what we're going to be covering in the Empath Academy. And the reason why I've created the Empath Academy was because it's pretty much what I took myself through. To come from a sensitive, really highly affected empath that could go, oh God, I could feel every single person's energy. I would go from 0 to 1,000 in anger because I would just get hit instantly with the dirtiness of people's energy and it would affect me so badly. I would just please everybody else but myself. I was a servant rather than being of service. And I came last. And that really, really affected me as an empath. Now that I've tipped the table and I have completely shifted my perspective around self-care, self-love, getting to know myself, self-respect, and I started to look internally rather than externally, everything shifted for me. And so I'm offering it in two forms. One, you get to be with me every single week for 12 weeks. It's just going to be like a 30 to 40-minute Zoom once a week for 12 weeks, and we're going to go through the 12 modules. So there's people pleasing, there's boundaries, there's superpowers as an empath, and actually how to work with them, how to see them as superpowers and use them to your not advantage, but to be able to actually thrive in your life rather than just survive. There'll be things around working with energy and how to actually work with energy, including the energy of money. There's going to be things about being of service instead of a servant. We're going to work with divination. So, actually, like connecting. How do you connect? Is it like through which sense do you mostly connect with? Is it do you feel? Do you hear? Do you see? Do you smell? Do you just know? Just not even know how you connect. So we'll work in with the elements so that we'll connect in with Mother Nature. And I'll show you to use your sensitivity with the elements of Mother Nature so that you can mood manage yourself and also use your energy. So for those of you that know what I'm talking about, there's times when as an empath we feel lit as like we are like on fire. How can we use that energy? Then there's other times when we have nothing left in the tank, like we are zero. We've got not even a drop to give any other person. How do we actually manage that? So we'll be covering that as well. So there's 12 modules altogether. It's either 30 to 40 minutes every single week with me on Zoom for 12 weeks, and that's $55 a week. Or if you're around the Gold Coast or you can fly into the Gold Coast, I'm offering it in a weekend workshop. I've made it so ridiculous in price that you'll be able to afford it. And we're going to do all 12 modules over 2 days and one night in Numinbah Valley. So I've put all the teachings, I've put the food and your accommodation in, and it's only $5.55 for the whole weekend. It's ridiculous. But you know what? This is one of those things that I'm going to teach you. This is because I want to do this. I really, really, really want to do this weekend workshop because it feels like Hogwarts. Like, I'm so excited for it. I don't think I've been this excited since Quintessential. But having people there and just having the fire on and making them some comfort food and just teaching people how to just be like a really cool fucking empath and live with their gifts in a way that actually brings them joy floats my boat. So that's what we're going to be doing. And so the 12 weeks starts on the 1st of July and the weekend actually is on the 20th and 21st of July. So I'll drop the both the events in the comments and I'll drop that photo of that book for you. If you've got any questions, just throw them in here or you can actually message me privately. I would love you to join me for either one of them. And if you don't, then just keep watching these lives and I'll give you little snippets of it over the next couple of weeks. Mwah! Thank you for watching. I cannot see any comments. I'm not even, so I'm just going to have a little look when I get off here.